Annapurna, at 26,504 feet. It's the 10th highest mountain on Earth, part of the 1,500-mile Himalayan mountain chain that stretches through South Asia. On the other side of the world in Kirkland, Washington, 6-year-old Matthew Williams trains on his mom's treadmill. He's preparing for a challenging 10-day, 60-mile trek on the steep mountains surrounding Annapurna. And a chance to see a way of life that hasn't changed in 1,000 years.
Phew, that was loud.
After 19.5 hours of flying, Matthew, his well-rested sister Caroline, and his parents Karen and Ken arrive in Kathmandu. Located in an ancient lakebed, Kathmandu is the cultural and economic center of the Kingdom of Nepal. The plan is to rest for 2 days, adjust to the 12-hour time difference, and see a few of the sights before beginning the trek.
Hey, Caroline.
Say hi, Dad.
Are you in Kathmandu?
Say, here we are in Kathmandu. We're going to go hiking. Yeah, I'm going to go hiking.
During the layover in Bangkok, Matthew had become so ill that he had to be taken to and from the plane in a wheelchair. He wouldn't feel better until he had arrived in Kathmandu and slept for 15 hours in the hotel.
When we arrived at Kathmandu, it just literally, you come from the first world to the third world. You walk out and there's that kind of hard to describe smell of like diesel fuel, dust, and hot air that you just don't get anywhere else. You know you're in the third world. And we walked out of the terminal and you run a gauntlet of people with, everybody has a sign saying, you know, a hotel, tour, taxi, and everybody's waving, come over this way, only 20 rupees, we're only 15 rupees. But we saw our sign, they had a sign that says Ken William, no, it's Ken William Tour, Greatest Great Trekking, and there's a guy whose job was to hold the sign. We met our guide, Ram, who speaks English very well. He had I think it was an old Toyota van.
Have trek briefing.
Okay.
At 3 p.m.
Okay.
3 p.m. there's a briefing?
Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll be there.
Right now the time is 2:45.
Okay.
Okay.
Hey, Caroline, are you like riding in this car? Can you see?
Not used to being able to see sun. Good. Very good. You'll want to have some too. Matthew's sleeping, huh? Poor Matthew.
How do you feel?
I feel okay. Poor Matthew's sick though.
Yeah, he doesn't look
Caroline's the one who's doing the best.
good. Caroline, what's your secret? How come you have so much energy?
Where is your duffel bag? Somebody.
Duffel bags, Ken?
Around the corner over there.
What are you doing, Dad?
Well, we're so tired after all the traveling that we basically just fell asleep on the bed. And Caroline is the only one who had any energy left. She was, we said to Caroline, why don't you lie down? And Caroline said, can't, have work to do. And I'm not sure what she was doing, but she was busy. And so we kind of fell asleep about 4 o'clock, and I woke up and grabbed her and took her to the other room, and then we slept until it was about midnight, and she woke up and she was hungry, but there's no food and no place to buy anything. And we had to eat gum all night until the restaurant opened in the hotel at about 6 a.m.
Anything and everything happens on the busy streets of Kathmandu. The world's noisiest and most congested traffic is a blend of cars, taxis, pedicabs, bikes, motorcycles, Land Rovers, and pedestrians. There is also some of the world's most creative electrical wiring. Haircuts are available, no appointment necessary. Low-cost deliveries, no package too small or too large. Fresh cut meat featuring today's special, cow hooves. Rising on a 100-meter hill in the center of the city is Swayambhunath. This holy temple is dominated by the all-seeing eyes of Buddha and the Nepali question mark symbol for one, representing the one path to enlightenment. It's also called the Monkey Temple because hundreds of monkeys live here and are free to roam. Legend says that on this spot, a holy man cut his hair. The hair became trees, and the lice in his hair became monkeys. The perspective from the top of the temple reveals just how large and how polluted Kathmandu is. Although just outside the city is farmland so rich and fertile that it yields 3 harvests each year. Nepalis try to come to the temple in the morning when their minds are clear and open. They light incense and yak butter candles and offer prayers of thanks for themselves and their families. After a few photographs,
Can everybody smile? Kind of laugh a little bit? You guys can laugh, come on. Look at Caroline, how she's laughing. She's funny.
and a good night's rest and some t-shirt shopping, the Millennium Trekkers head for the Kathmandu airport. The next stop is Pokhara in central Nepal and the start of their trek. Every kind of language is spoken here, since this has been the departure point for all the great Himalayan expeditions.
Forward to seeing the mountains from the air, but I couldn't help but be worried about the airline we were flying on, Nikon Air. I thought we were flying on Royal Nepal, but it turned out we were flying on an airline I'd never heard of. And after I thought about it for a little while, at least I realized that Nikon Air actually looked like NEC on air. And since I'd been with NEC for over 10 years, I thought maybe that was a sign that it might be okay when we would land safely in Pokhara. We met our staff and our head Sherpa Lobsang just outside the terminal building and began our first day of trekking in the Himalayas.
That's Caroline's chair, look. You want to try it, Caroline?
Hop in.
I help you.
Lobsang will help you.
You put through your leg is under.
Put your feet under there, under the rope. There
On
you
the
go.
rope, okay? There you go. Okay.
You like
यो
that?
पनि अलि यो पनि बान्नु पर्यो जस्तो छ त्यो त अब यो अलि यस्तो बान्नु पर्छ के हिजो नै भनेको यो केटाहरूलाई
अलि माथि ताने नि त्यो भयो
त्यसरी न यो डोको त फाटेर जान्छ नि
We held our breath to see if Caroline would like her basket. If she didn't, there was no way we were going to be able to trek for 10 days on the steep trails.
Okay, you ready?
Look at Caroline up high.
So you just sit there like this, okay?
Can you wave?
दाजु यो त दायाँ बायाँ बान्नु पर्ला पर्दैन बिस्तारै हिँड्नु
It's hard though because you drive up in the car and then get out and it's hot, put on your pack and immediately start walking. Right up a very steep hill and uphill for almost 3 hours to the top of the ridge, and that's where we ended up camping.
For this expedition, 19 staff members are hired, including Sherpas, cooks, assistant cooks, and porters. Lunch can be a super picnic, a 5-course meal including hot drinks, condiments, and a full table setting.
French fries, Caroline. French fries. You like French fries? And you have ketchup too. We have more stuff here. You know, we have more stuff here than we have at home. We don't even have ketchup at home. We have what we have here.
How is this?
More stuff?
What's that?
sandwich
Oh, wow.
Sandwich.
Sandwich.
big ones
Oh, my goodness. We're not going to lose any weight on this trip.
This is...
We're not used to this. Right, Caroline?
Can you wave to Dad?
Hi, I'm off.
Yeah, it's matter. Do you speak English? Yes. You learned English in school? Yeah. Where do you go to school? Where's your school? Yeah? Is that a rocket or an airplane? A rocket you're flying, huh? Whoa, good flying.
Undaunted by the rugged Himalayan peaks, Caroline, at 3 years old, wants to hike just like Mom, Dad, and Big Brother. Fortunately, the trekkers are close to their first camp at the farming village of Bumdi.
You're taking
Hey, you. This is your tent? Yeah. Over here? Wow. You got the purple tent, just like Barney.
Funny.
Yeah, Barney's color. All right. Here's how Barney in Nepal.
Sorry?
Barney? Do you have Barney? It's a kid's character. Kids TV. Kids in the U.S., little kids like Barney.
Yes, yes.
And he's purple.
Ah.
She likes purple.
Wow.
She got a Barney colored tent.
Uh-huh.
All right.
Good.
We're here now at camp in an absolutely spectacular ridge, terraced, kind of camping in like a cut grass field, and the children are playing with the other children from the villages. They're having a great time. We've got a nearly 180-degree view of the Himalayan mountains all the way from the left, Dhaulagiri, all the way to the far right of the skyline, Manaslu and Annapurna 1, 2, 3, and 4, Machu Picchu, and a bunch of other peaks, snow-covered Himalayan giants in between.
Matthew would later say that this was his favorite camp because he was able to play with so many other kids. This is the same Matthew who has just spent the entire day hiking uphill. Matthew has two Sherpas to watch over him, Santa in red and Pema, both from the Khumbu Everest region. They walk with him, hold his hand, and, if necessary, carry him. On the second day, the trail is off the main trekking route. It is slippery, rough, steep, and muddy. This will turn out to be the longest day of the trek, covering 10 miles and reaching an altitude of 7,000 feet.
All right, we're at the top of the, I'm on top of the pass here, about 7,000 feet. Pretty much been climbing all day from our camp this morning after I took a short lunch break. I tried for the last hour to see if I could match the Sherpa step for step, and I did, right behind him all the way. The difference, though, is that I have about 20 pounds of camera gear, and they have about 70 to 80 pounds of heavy boxes and gear and stoves, with a tump line around their head, not a sophisticated harness system like I do. So had that been equalized, they would have burned me right into the ground. I'm kind of wondering how Matthew's doing. Been going about 5 hours today, and altitude 6,000–7,000 feet. And from this point, we have a good 45 minutes, although it's relatively level, into our camp. Should be there, about 3 o'clock. So Karen's doing well too. It's just an awfully steep second day. I'd hoped that it wouldn't have been quite so hard.
Within 100 feet of camp, Karen badly twists her right ankle. It is severe enough to consider abandoning the hike.
Is that good?
That's not how you spell chocolate at all, but it was close. Good. I mean, it sounds like that. It's C-H-O-C, that's right. Erase everything after the C.
What's C?
Spell chocolate, C-H-O-C-K-L-I-T. Chocolate.
Well,
That's what it sounds like,
yeah.
but that's just not how it's spelled.
That's exactly, that's how it should be spelled.
I know.
Caroline, you kind of sad this morning?
Daddy's taking your picture. Can you say good morning? That was a good one.
Can you say good morning?
No.
You kind of sad? I'll have to send Lobsam down here to have it talk with you. So you, Caroline. No, you shape up. That's right.
The next morning, Karen tries standing on her ankle and weighs her options.
Now, today, where it's down, we're going to kind of traverse all the way across down along this ridge down here, down to that low point. See that? We kind of cut through and drop right down to the river valley. So it's going to be level and then down, but it should be 2 to 3 hours, and then should be there around noon. What do you think about that?
Sounds good.
Would it make more sense to rest today?
I don't know. My ankle definitely hurts.
Well, you decide. I mean, we'll have half a day to rest, but then you'll have to add more stress on it, or should we just rest the whole day and then put half a day on it? We'll think about it. Especially since we've got people who don't need to be in the video.
I felt that if I could wrap my ankle tightly and immobilize my ankle, I could lace up my boots and have Lopsang carry my pack, I might be able to continue. However, my ankle was extremely tender, and I was concerned about going back as the trail was very treacherous, as well as the trail was treacherous going forward. It seemed that we would just have to take one day at a time. I tried to step lightly with the ski poles, although going downhill really hurt a lot more than going uphill.
You wake up, Carolina, huh?
How about some crackers? No? Yeah. I'm Lopsang. My name is Lopsang. I'm coming from part of below Everest. That's what it's called Sagarmatha. But I living in Kathmandu quite long times ago. You know, like almost 20 years ago. I live in Kathmandu right now. And he is my helper, Sherpa. His name is Santa Lama. So he is Pema. Also he is coming from East Nepal, but also he is living in Kathmandu. I don't know he is married or not. No.
Miss America wave.
What?
And she does her hand like this, like she's spreading butter.
I kind of got behind the group, and I came to a Y, and I went right, traversing the hill, and all these kids were behind me screaming, no, 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 and I turned around, and they were pointing like down the hill when my group went. So you don't give candy because they don't have a lot of dental work up here available, and that's bad for their teeth, and I didn't have any money. So to thank them, I took their picture, and I have a viewfinder that I can turn so that they can see themselves.
Yeah.
Without them, I'd be lost in the Himalayas right now. So I'm on my way to catch up to the rest of the group.
After several days of trekking, the group crosses the Modikola River, which flows directly from the glaciers of Annapurna. From the valley floor, they climb all day in the sweltering sun. The trekkers pause while the mail run passes through. This pack train makes the journey twice a day to deliver mail and supplies to the high mountain villages accessible only by trail.
These steps are so steep. I'm telling you, if I don't come back in great shape, I'm going to ask for a refund. In fact, I'm thinking we should make a video of all this called Buns of Steel in Nepal.
I think you can see the river down there.
Yeah.
That's where we crossed this morning. They come all the way up here. Good for you.
The afternoon mail run, first class mail only.
I did, Daddy.
Way to go.
The group earns a day of rest in the village of Gondrung at 7,300 feet. This marks the northernmost point they will reach. After resting, they will descend and recross the Modikola, turning south to Pokhara on the main trekking route.
We are here in Gondrung, about as far as we're going to go into the mountains. Matthew, do you know what brutal means? Brutal. It means extremely difficult. All day, 4 hours up, 4.5 hours up from the river, all in the sun, steep, 2,000 feet of elevation. Very tough trip.
I'm not tired.
Well, that's good. Hey, you know what? Could you carry my pack tomorrow?
How about carrying me?
Yeah, you carry Mom in my pack.
Besides, we're not hiking tomorrow.
That's right. We're taking a day off. It's a very handsome village, and we're going to explore it.
Yeah.
Next day we go back down to the, that's what it said in the brochure. And then we're going to go down to the village to Landrung, and then we're going to work our way back. But I'm telling you, this was a hot, brutal climb.
No, it isn't.
Okay, Matthew, except for Matthew. That's pretty good.
You look marvelous.
Mama.
Okay, we're
Not
about done.
clean.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Hey, lie back now.
lay
You're
back.
not going to rinse the soap out.
Okay, lay back.
Whoa. Lopesum, you're next.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it does.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it does.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
I'm done sipping.
What do you want to tell me? Oh, nice secret. Thank you for sharing.
Like that.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. No, do this. Yeah. I do that.
No, it's not. Okay. See you later. Yes, it does.
The Sherpas are so careful with Matthew that they even climb above him in a tree to keep him from going too high.
I was just asking about the climb tomorrow. Looks like it's pretty steep downhill tomorrow.
Yeah, looks like quite a steep, but trail is some places little zigzag, not problem. Even little steep down, but there is always a step like yesterday.
It looked like narrow steps though, just that beginning of it.
Yeah.
Are they pretty narrow steps?
Well, some place, but that is not very difficult. I mean,
Is it any more difficult than any other descents?
yeah, I mean, some places it's still a little difficult, but not like around Pamsashi.
It's next to how fast you can go.
The party leaves while the sun is still low in the sky and looks forward to climbing the other side of the valley in the shade. Crossing back over the river, the group is grateful for lifelong memories of a rich and shining land and its graceful people. The last few steps of the Millennium Trek bring the travelers into downtown Pokhara.
I don't think we could have made it without such a good group. So thank you very much. It's the only time we've done this, the first time, and we'll never forget it. We have all these pictures. We're going to make a movie now. We'll remember it for a long time. Here, give that to your friend Pema. Thank you very much. Thanks for helping Matthew. He really appreciates it. And then Santa. Here. Shake hands, please. That's right. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it. And then the guy, the very important guy, 3 times a day we have thought of this guy because the food was so good. That's Chorpa Hadu. Matthew. Go ahead. Right here, my blue shirt. Shake hands. Thank you very much. It really was some good food. We all really, and you know how picky Caroline is.
Thank you very much. It was wonderful. Thank you.
And then let's see here, we have for carrying Caroline, Paula Hume. There he is.
We said goodbye to our Sherpa friends. And we realized that in this world, there are still some things that remain unchanged, infinite and grand. For 60 miles, we walked step for step with our children.
Your basket. You want to walk? Oh, you did walk.
And our souls embrace the eternal beauty of traveling by foot among the greatest mountains on earth.